Alright, so we're working on something a little bit different today. Something I probably wouldn't normally do a video of, but I thought that I would. Alright, so something I'm working on with these cabinets and their storage is I'm working on putting a support right underneath here that's going to add some support to the bottom speaker. And I'm doing this because getting the cabinets to get them positioned back onto this stacking frame, which we are using this also for storage, but this stacking frame is used when we ground stack these cabinets. If we can't fly them or we don't want to fly them, this is how we keep them stacked together. A lot of times you've seen us, when we fly these cabinets, this stacking bar stays on the whole structure, which for us, we would just grab the whole thing, lift it. What it does is it makes it exponentially easier on loadout. When we bring the speakers down, everything's attached, ready to go. We just put it on the dolly and that's it. And that is important for us because reattaching the pins into their appropriate spots, including up front, a lot of times that can be a hassle when you're trying to hold a stacking frame and you're trying to guide it in correctly into the areas just to be able to stick the pins in them. So to avoid the frustrations and the problems, we just take the stacking frame up with the speakers. So what I'm doing here is to avoid always having to take the stacking frame up. I want to make this a support down here underneath it, and that's going to allow the whole speaker cabinet assembly to be lowered down, and that's going to make it easier for us to get these pins and stuff all guided in correctly. Once this extra support is set up, really only one person is really needed to bring down the whole speaker structure and to be able to mount it on the frame. All right, because here in the little shop area that I have, I've got the fly bar rigged up. The speaker cabinet height is too tall for this thing to work, so I'm taking off the top cabinet and then I'll mount the fly bar to the second cabinet just to be able to pull everything up. So anyway, this top cabinet I just need to move. On cabinets like this, and these speakers are rather heavy. They are about 60 pounds a piece. So I'll stick a piece of shock foam in between it, just to make sure it doesn't come down all of a sudden. You can tell that shock foam is holding this here. are attached. All right, this whole thing here is being held up now just by the 2 pins in the front and the lift here. All right, we are completely free. We need to cut out a notch for that for the center part of that stacking frame. Doesn't have to be deep. All right, for this purpose, for what it's going to be used for, I think that's going to be fine. This is really going to be, nobody's going to see this. This is just for how I need to store the speakers. In fact, I may not even paint these. All right, I think that'll be fine. All right, that's more than adequate for what this is being used for. All right, so I'm going to make a change on something here. All right, so here's what I'm going to do that's going to be a little bit different. Instead of putting some other wood up here and cutting an angle to match the bottom of the cabinet, actually, I'm thinking about just doing some shock foam. And those of you who've watched the videos know that I do like my shock foam. So what I'm thinking of doing is putting this here, and this is still going to take a brunt of the weight, but I do need to cut it to make sure that it matches for what we need for the height. And if there's any kind of extra weight that's on it, obviously you can tell it's just going to bend and form into the shape of the bottom of the cabinet. Alright, I did a quick measurement on this. It looks like I'm probably going to need about this much here in the height of it. So I'm going to take this off right about here. All right. All right. All right, we got to get put back together to make sure our measurements are good. And I'm watching the very front here. Almost got those in. Not quite. Let's get this other one in. Alright, let's see how well this is. Obviously, if I move the shock foam forward, it'll cause the cabinet to stop at a certain height. And if I move it back, it'll cause the cabinet to stop at a little bit of a lower height. So let's just see where we need to keep this. Feels like it's getting most of the weight now. Let's take a look here. Alright. Alright, what we're looking for on this particular one is we want the zeros to line up. The zero here and the zero on our bar. So it looks like the cabinets need to come down a little bit more. Looks pretty close. All right. Now obviously this is how this works for the NX-L23As and the stacking frame. So if you've got RCF speakers, you may have a different stacking frame or a completely different way of controlling the height on it. All right, that went right in. All right, let's lower this. I think that's it. I think we're done lowering it. Yep, the hoist is loose. All right, that looks good. All right, that looks good. Okay, so this is what we want to see. This is how we know that the support, the rear support underneath that we just put in is working. These pins over here, I can take this out and put it in without any issues. That means that a majority of the weight is being held by the support that is underneath it. So in fact, let's pull that out, and I'm going to pull the other one out. Okay, as you can tell, both supports are out, and the cabinets and everything are sitting as they should. And this is what we want. We want a lot of the weight to be absorbed by that extra support that was put in. Okay, and really just a slight pickup of maybe, I think I picked up maybe 5 pounds on it to get this to go in there. That one went right in. All right. All right, let's get the that other cabinet put back on here. Forgetting to move this bar here out of the way. All right, with the additional weight on the back of this, let's see how well this does. All right, as you can tell, I can still move this, so it's not binding. This bottom one here, yeah, it's all the weight here is being supported by these. Let's take a look at the other side. All right. All right, there's a little bit more weight on it, but not much, really. Yeah, it's in there pretty solid. Yeah, I think I'm going to call this a success. And really, the whole goal of it was to supplement the support on the rear of it, just to make the managing these bars a lot easier. And when bringing the speaker system down, that it makes it a lot easier to reattach to the stacking bar. The shock foam that I'm using it's not glued, it's not secured in any way. And this is to allow whoever it is that is lowering the speakers down, that if we have to move the foam left or right or forward or backwards, we can do that. And a lot of times wood will swell, and it can swell quite a bit, that it could change the whole dynamics of how the support takes place on the rear of the speaker. All right, so some of you may be wondering why I did not do any set up any support, let's say directly on the caster board, like attached to the caster board. I looked at doing that because we're using the stacking frame as a storage platform, as well as using it for ground stacking. This is the main reason why I did not do anything on the floor, because I needed space to but to put a two-wheeler in. This is how we take the stack of speakers off of a caster board when we're ground stacking. We never ground stack with the speakers on the casters, because something can happen and they could roll. We certainly don't want that to happen. So the whole stack of speakers has to come off, and this was the only way to add support, was to use the existing frame to support something on, instead of using the actual caster board. So what happens, and I won't do it here, but the whole thing can rock back. It rocks back onto the wheels of the two-wheeler, and then the caster board just comes off. And then the speakers are sitting on the two-wheeler. So we had to maintain, the whole caster board had to be maintained open so we can get the two-wheeler in and out, both in the front or the back. All right, well, now that I know this works, I just need to duplicate this on the other speaker. All right, thanks for watching.
sitting in the front here.